Yep, I shaved my mustache. Now all the 12-year-olds who are complaining in the comments can shut the hell up. This is the Razer Wolverine Tournament Edition, brother to the Razer Wolverine Ultimate and one of the only 3 mechanical Xbox controllers on the market. While yes, there are other mechanical controllers, these ones are both the most popular and the most widely available. Not only that, but they're realistic prices, which makes them the go-to for most people. Today we'll be talking about the middle child of these 3 controllers and what is, in my opinion, the best value per dollar pro controller on the market today, the Razer Wolverine Tournament Edition. This is going to be the review, as I've already compared it to the Razer Wolverine Ultimate, which I'll have up above and below. Spoiler alert, both these controllers are great. The V2 fucking sucks. When it comes to the software of this thing and control freaks, I have separate videos on those, which I'll also have linked down below, but I need to stop wasting time. Like, subscribe, let's get into it. So I feel like I need to talk about this controller's mechanicalness before I talk about things I like and dislike about it. Razer took a completely different approach with their pro controllers when you compare them to someone like Scuf or the Elites, not only making them affordable, but making the features you're getting at that price point worth a whole hell of a lot more than what you're paying for. Mecha Tactile, or in layman's terms, straight up mechanical ABXY buttons, 2 buttons on the front of the controller, yes, I'm not even kidding, both using a more generic form of Razer's mechanical switch, but still mechanical nonetheless. Now these buttons on the front do not have the most reliable switches underneath them, so that's something I'm going to make my own video about because the Razer Tartarus V2 has a similar issue. But on top of the mechanical switches, this controller also has a bunch of other features to make it a lot more responsive, a lot quicker, and all around a lot more useful. Like its wired connection, reliable trigger stops, 2 extra buttons on the bottom for a total of 4, extremely wide and accurate thumbsticks, angular bumpers for easier use and access. Oh my god. How could I forget? This is the only controller on the market to be touched so inappropriately by PC gaming, with its RGB strip, which is customizable through the software, which again, video in the description. Now, what makes the TE such a good controller? Well, there's one word I'd use to sum it up very, very easily, and it's simplicity. It's not as fucking brain dead as the Wolverine V2, not that simple. Simple in the way an old car would be simple. Easy to repair, easy to get stuff for. You're getting an extremely reliable experience and a controller that is not too difficult to use. Like I did say in my comparison video, it is a bit harder to learn than something like the Razer Wolverine Ultimate, but after you get used to it, it is not that difficult to use in the slightest. The extremely wide thumbsticks and the slimmer body design make this controller unbelievably easy to be extremely accurate with. Like I've said in previous videos, when it comes to pro controllers, the ergonomics and the comfortability of your controller are extremely important to the controller being useful at all. A comfortable controller will allow you to be a hell of a lot more accurate and allow you to hit your buttons a lot faster. When it comes to the Tournament Edition, providing your hands are not puny, tiny, or you use PS4 controllers, this wouldn't be a hard controller to use, but one of the downsides of M3 and M4 here on the bottom are that they're placed all the way at the back of the controller. But I do have to say, I actually do like these buttons after getting to use them a little bit more. With the type of grip I have on my controller, my fingers rest perfectly inside the little, almost like dips that they have. They're really comfortable. I just wish that Razer would have moved them up a little bit more to make them more accessible to people who are PS4 players. My favorite part about the controller easily, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, it's the ABXY buttons, hands down. Not only are these, by far, the most tactile ABXY buttons ever, but they are probably the most beautiful sounding. In fact, they don't sound too dissimilar from my very, very, very dead Deathadder Elite, which I should be making a video on that sometime, shouldn't I? Don't know why I haven't. While these ABXY buttons do require a bit more force to press down, it's so worth it, dude. Not only is the mechanical feel extremely satisfying, but these things feel extremely stable. Like I could sit here and press these for years and years and years and nothing would happen. Gotta say, the only issue I've had with ABXY on both my Wolverine controllers, the Ultimate, the Tournament Edition, and previous Ultimates that I've had, B wears out. Not wear out as in it stops working. The font on the B button itself just wears down, so eventually it'll just be a black button, which isn't the biggest deal, at least in my opinion. Just thought it was worth mentioning. Now, as I said in my Wolverine Ultimate versus Tournament Edition video, The two D-pads that the Ultimate has cannot compare to the built-in D-pad the Tournament Edition has here. It feels more tactile, it feels more stable, it's easier to use. You get the picture. If you're into fighting games, this controller's for you. Do not get the Ultimate. One last thing I'd like to go over before I draw out my conclusion to this video, it would have to be the bumpers, triggers, and the buttons on the front, as well as the trigger stops. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. When it comes to stock Xbox controllers and pro controllers that are based off the stock Xbox controller, I fucking hate the bumpers. Xbox One controller bumpers are so unbelievably dog shit. They're stiff as hell, they're not ergonomic in the slightest, and they break way too easily. However, the TE shares the same bumpers as the Wolverine Ultimate, and not only has none of the bumpers on my Wolverine Ultimates gone out, but they are probably some of the best bumpers on the market. Not for click, or for positioning, or anything other than the shape of the bumpers themselves. These bumpers are angular, they aren't too difficult to press down, in fact they're really easy. These are just, by far, by a very large margin, some of the easiest bumpers to use, right next to the Fusion Pro, which might be a bit easier because that controller is a bit smaller. On top of that, when you compare it to something like the Elite Series 2 or even any regular Xbox One controller, the majority of the issues you'll see that are coming up with the Razer Wolverine Ultimate are from the buttons on the front or the sticks. That's it. Same thing with the Tournament Edition. Occasionally the buttons on the bottom, buttons on the front will go out, some shit like that will happen, but the bumpers are just never really complained about. I have heard a few problems with the triggers, but to be honest, I'm not sure if that's a Razer thing or just an Xbox controller thing again. Although I will say these are pretty good for Xbox controller triggers, I actually really like them. The only significant difference between these triggers and an Xbox One controller, like a normal Xbox One controller, the edges are a bit sharper, and they're made to be a little bit more aggressive. What really does stand out though is the trigger stops on both the Ultimate and the Tournament Edition. They are probably some of the most reliable. I have not slipped once. That's probably just about as rough as I'll ever get with this controller, to be honest with you guys. But aside from never slipping, they go down a decent amount. They're easy to use, they're easy to activate. Trigger stops are nice. Buttons on the front are extremely comfortable. In fact, my hands naturally rest on them now. Everything about this controller is pretty much perfect. Even audio through the headphone jack, which is almost never good with controllers. Almost never good. It seems like I just plugged my headphones into my PC instead of plugging them into my controller. The audio sounds really good with this controller. So I suppose going into the conclusion of this video, the number one thing, or the number one word I could use again to describe the Wolverine Tournament Edition: simplicity. Simple things do not fall apart or give you as many issues. To be honest, all around, in terms of all the categories that are available with features and reliability and pricing, this controller has to take first place. All around, I think this is the best Xbox One Pro controller, right next to the Wolverine Ultimate, which is just fucking insane. But the Wolverine Ultimate would probably have to come in second because it's not as reliable. To be honest with you guys, I couldn't really recommend a product more than the Tournament Edition. Not only is it the least complained about in terms of durability or reliability, but the features it offers at the price point it's offered at, you can't really beat it. It is very, very similar in price and in feature set to the Fusion Pro, which is a controller I'm going to have to compare this to very soon, as it's been highly requested. But to be honest, as a Razer controller kind of nerd at this point, I think I'd still have to take this over the Fusion Pro. But there are some very, very key differences. So if you are interested in me comparing this to the Elite Series 2, or the Fusion Pro, or even the Razer Wolverine a year from now or some shit when I run out of ideas, consider subscribing. I'm going to have an affiliate link down in the description below for this controller, as well as a link to the Control Freaks, the Razer Wolverine versus TE video, my Razer Wolverine review, or my 1-year update video when it's out on February 12th. All that shit, everything in the description. Just go check it out. Pretty sure there's some other stuff down there too. You might find something cool you like. And yeah, I think that's going to conclude the Wolverine Tournament Edition review. I love you guys so much though, and before we go, I need to shout out our members real quick, which I'll probably end up changing the name of the members tier here soon. Console fucking sucks. I'd love to give a huge shout out to JG, Waterless, God, Exo Casper, Noah Jacques, Nenzaki, Maynard Lano, 4Kid, Young, and Kudacam. You guys are fucking G units. If you want to become a G unit, you can hit the G unit button down below. And while you're down there, hit the other G unit button down below. And I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, Why am I going in fucking circles? I'll see you in the next one. Peace.